Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Chaos-Reighn here. Today I am going to bring you the wrapping up of my my series of Zero to Hero, or whatever you want to call it. Now, I have done a lot of work and farming and grinding and everything like this, and I still have plenty of work to do, but I did want to kind of wrap it up and give you a kind of, hey, I have done it, I am at that point, and show you the culmination of everything I spent my time doing. And I really enjoyed doing this, and I will probably be glad to do a league start variant of it and make some serious currency in the next league, as long as I can, get my hands on that kind of situation of league starting, and if I have the free time to do so. Now, I will say that there's a whole bunch of things to go out. There's a couple friends that I was running lab with that ended up hitting some crazy enchants with me, and we split it, and that helped along the way. But without further ado, this is the goal that we have been trying to get, and we got it. Now, there is a couple people who did help me, financially and stuff like that, and I still have to kind of settle those. But all in all, we have it. It cost us 160, I think, and the price going right now is about 180 to 200. But I wanted to kind of wrap this up and give you guys a, hey, look, conclusion to basically what my goal here in this season was to get this on, a really low budget to start with, to getting all the way up to a min-max setup. As you see, we are using a bunch of uniques and a rare crafted boots with movement speed dual res and aspect of the cat. Nothing too crazy. We have catalyst on this, catalyst, no catalyst on the rest of them. We didn't really care about catalyst on our belt, though we can probably put speed, and if we wanted to move faster while we're shocked, so I don't really see a point. And there is, there's a whole lot of stuff to kind of go over on, how I kind of grinded up the exalts from that point on. First and foremost, I did sell my awakened chain, and I sold a whole bunch of helm enchants, and then got a whole bunch of more helm enchants. I have some, janky ones here, but I do have ones like this. I have this. We have a couple of decent ones, and then just all around we have some decent helm enchants just to help out. I've also hit 3 more Deadly Rivalry Prophecies, but I'm not going to finish the chain until my last Kintsugi sells, which I'm probably going to drop down to 1.5. There we go. And more than likely, I will be either building the Headhunter build fully soon, or I won't be building it at all, as I really enjoy the self-chill variant of this build. Now, there is a couple of things I wanted to go over to show you where I'm at and why I am so comfortable with the build the way it is. And basically, I'm just going to get straight to it. So, first things first, we are a level 92 Deadeye, and as you can tell, our reses are just barely capped on the fire, but I have a dying sun, so that's okay. We have basically no HP. The way I built my character is glass cannon, and to show you, this is basically... We have died 395 times, and that's a lot, kind of, but it's not as much as I usually die on average in the league while building glass cannons. A lot of times I build stuff and I just kind of test things out and see how I like it, and then go from there. Now, I've only ever built a couple true tanky characters, and they were fun, but it's just not my playstyle. I really like to hit things hard, hit things fast, hit things once, and to get them out of my way. So, let's go over the build. Well, as you know, we built a self-chill tornado shot in standard a little while ago, and our self-chill tornado shot used the typical Malagaros belt with winter weave, and then we used the chill reflection by using cold conduction. So, cold conduction says enemies shocked by your hits are chilled, enemies chilled by your hits are shocked, meaning if I would hit an enemy and chill them, they would immediately become shocked, and then the shocks are reflected to me via my belt, and the belt would increase my movement speed with the shock, but I'm also chilled due to cold conduction, which is then reversed. And on top of it, I'm immune to shock with this amulet, And I chose this amulet instead of the Impulsas because I really wanted to use the Feral's Fur. The Feral's Fur gives you a pretty decent amount of overall defensive layers and stuff like that, and I haven't built, or I haven't shown or showcased a build with the Feral's Fur in a while. I also got my Azanath's Chant with a Ice Shot enchant on it. We have our Hiri's Demise. Hiri's Demise gives us the stats we need. If we don't have it, we can't put on our gear. And it also gives us attack speed, life gain on hit, and enables our taming in one item. We have our dual res, movement speed, aspect boots, which we pretty much just bought the boots. We enchanted them ourselves, and then we put aspect on. Our gloves are a pair of Breath Stealers, anointed with Breath of Reighn. Breath of Reighn gives you effective cold ailments, both your freeze and your chill. Now, one thing I will say is that enemies frozen, I don't believe having more effective frozen does too much unless it increases the duration, but I don't think so, because if your action speed is 0, you can't really have more effective 0, in my opinion. However, it does affect your chill, and that's why we have it. With this, we have 300% increase effect of our cold ailments total, and that gives us the 30% reversed action speed on ourselves, and then 30% reduced action speed on enemies. So that's basically why we have chosen this as this part of the setup. Then we have the bow, which is the Death Opus. Now, the Death Opus I mainly am using because I got lucky and hit it with the enchant and rolled a literal perfect rolled 1. I know it's not legacy and it's not crazy, but it's the first time I've ever seen a just perfect rolled 1, so I wanted to keep it that way. But I might take it to Hillock and 30 quality it just for lulz, and just to kind of keep it, just to kind of keep it like that. Next, we will go to our tree. We never end up picking up a voices because voices were a little bit harder to find for us this league, and being on console, voices are kind of a hit or a miss whether you're going to get it. We have 3 non-damaging element clusters. The first one we have is a Blast Freeze Cold Conduction. We chose Blast Freeze because we freeze enemies consistently, and when their enemies are next to each other, it's just like freezing everything in that pack. Then we have a Watcher's Eye with base crit hatred, and then the other 2 mods that we don't even use. However, we can use the Grace mod if we decide to reserve Grace fully. Our large cluster is a Prismatic Heart, a Disorienting Display, and Vengeful Commander. We're not using Vengeful Commander, so we can take the most points possible to take our split personality with Dex Int. We chose Dex Int because that's basically the only one we can find at that time, and it enables us to get 48 intelligence. If I had the choice, I'd choose Strength Intelligence, but I couldn't find one on the board. We are pathing basically the standard pathing. We have Point Blank Spect in. We have our whole tree set up here. We have this set up. We have our crit nodes and go up here. We have our life nodes, and then we have the rest of the conversion for Ice Shot along with rest of the cold damage right here. We also have bow damage and accuracy here with attack speed, and then we have crit chance right here with a little bit of damage. We have our first frenzy here. We are taking 1 inspired learning. We then have the crit nodes, the res nodes, our dodge, our second non-damaging element cluster here, and then our third, and then we are taking the strength because without it we can't really put on our gear. And our pathing starts actually going up and around, so we get the most out of our split, and because it helps, path to the points that we really want, which is crit chance, crit multi, crit chance, crit multi. We go up here because this is basically where our next inspired learning is going to go if we decide to get it and or use it. Currently, we just have a Fragile Bloom with Corrupted Blood, but I could find a Corrupted Blood jewel somewhere else and figure that out if I really want to. And we have this all pathed in here. Then we spec up here for our chill effect, Fingers of Frost for effective cold ailments, chance to freeze enemies which are chilled, and enemies are chilled enemies become chilled as they unfreeze. So basically you can just permanently freeze enemies. With Ice Shot, it's very, very, very consistent to do that. And then lastly, we have our last jewel, which is the Replica Hot-Headed. Now, along with spending all our time on this tree pretty much. We did try out the Headhunter build, and I was going to show you, hey, this is what it looks like. However, I've built Headhunter builds every single league, and honestly speaking, it's probably too early for me to say, but so far self-chill seems the funnest overall to me. And my reason being is because I'll kind of give you a demonstration. First and foremost, this is my normal movement speed without a potion. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and shoot my Hydrosphere, and this is my movement speed after I become chilled and shocked. And when I'm chilled and shocked, this is basically what you're dealing with here. This is basically my mapping speed. Okay, this is how fast I'm moving at all times. And one little thing I can tell you is that when you're trying to move through maps real quick, having a Headhunter on doesn't always help, because if you don't have rare monsters, you don't really do a lot. But having a self-chill that you can literally apply to yourself by shooting your Hydrosphere is just nuts. Now, to get into my enchant, we have Hydrosphere, Precision, Blood Rage, Sniper's Mark. In our boots, we have Dash, Second Wind, and then less duration for the Aspect of the Cat rotations. We have a level 21 Hatred with no quality because it's just AoE. And then we have a Divergent Herald of Ice, Divergent Frostbite, Awakened Hex Touch, and an Almost Elemental Weakness for extra curse effect. This is also our swap for single target. What we do here is we actually drop the Herald of Ice in bossing because it doesn't do anything in bossing. And then we have a little bit of a little bonus where we could excuse me, where we can use our little ensnaring arrow here, and that will instead chill us. And when it chills us, we run around fast and so on and so forth. But it also applies 2 curses, both which have 10% increase effect. One has 20% increase effect, and then it itself says ensnared enemies take 20% increased projectile damage from attack hits. That's a lot of damage. 20% more damage you do. Now, the point of my build is to stack the more multipliers. As you know, when you with Ice Shot or with Far Shot says 60% more. So if I'm at the optimal distance, I will be doing 80% more just off of this. Then you take into effect Sniper's Mark. Sniper's Mark says cursed enemies take 40% more. Now, that's 120% more damage from projectile hits at the right distance. That's a lot. That's not including the fact that I'm going to be applying hexes, and that's also not or the elemental hexes. And that's also not including the fact that my cold damage has a awakened cold pin on it. Now, I could drop the cold pin and maybe, if I really want to, use something along the lines of, say, a faster attacks, Coaling Strike. I could do my swap skill or swap gen that I've been using here, which is Divergent Onslaught. Divergent Onslaught gives you Onslaught on a hit when you hit a unique enemy at 10%, and then basically guarantees it to you if you hit a pack, and then it gives you and or kill enemies, and then it gives you, the alt quality gives you 20% attack and cast speed while I have Onslaught, basically saying I have insane attack speed just during Onslaught. Now, if I did this, let's see if I can let me see if it works. So this is basically what it looks like if I decide to do this. I don't know if Onslaught is triggered off of hitting Hydrosphere like Self-Chill and everything else is, but if it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. Now, I use Onslaught on my clear because it's just easier. Oops, that's my, what is that? Broad support? Put that there. I use Onslaught on my clear because it's just, it's easier to proc and I don't have to worry about it, and I want to move faster through maps. And that's just the way I'm playing right now, but you can pretty much use it however you want to. It doesn't really matter. You know, the game's versatile. You can play the game however you want. I also have 2 different setups for my clear. I have either hypothermia. Hypothermia I do on basically tankier maps, things with more life. I need to do more damage, so I drop Onslaught, put in this. And I use this on maps that are basically white or, you know, simple. I could get Awakened GMP, but it's actually not necessary because I'm running it white. I'm not running it with resistances. All I got to do is go in here, take out Cold Pin, and now I have a bunch of more arrows and everything's dying real quick. On top of already having the ability to kill things real quick. Now, since I'm not farming Conquerors, I have Ensnaring Arrow on a alt or swap instead of normal. And it's working out for me so far, so I'm going to keep it that way. However, there is a couple of upgrades you can do. And one of the biggest ones is making 5, 6, 7, or 8 link gloves. Now, what I did in standard, or last league should I say, is I made crazy double influence, triple elevated ones, which are still possible. It's just a little hard to do. I will say, if you're going to go this route, please be aware that it's expensive, and even though it is highly worth it, it is very likely that you will end up with subpar versions just because of how Awakening works without Harvest. But, you know, if you're willing to take that gamble, go for it. Have some fun. Make some crazy gloves. If you do, the gloves I recommend you Awakening are the following. You would either do faster attacks, faster projectiles, or faster attacks, slower projectiles, or faster attacks and the upgraded version of evade attacks. The upgraded version of evade attacks, which is a Redeemer modifier, also gives you attack speed, which stacks with faster attack speed, so you end up having 30 attack speed gloves, the fastest attack speed gloves you can have. And it's also the only way to do this. And the last thing I would do would maybe be a Coaling Strike pair of gloves awakened with faster attacks, or maybe even a second prefix, and then trying to reforge speed to get your faster attacks that way. But either way, if you guys want to see some crazy crafting guides or videos or anything like that, I can post them if you want. Just ask. But that's this video for another day. I wanted to wrap this up by saying thank you everyone so much for watching my content. This is by no means the last video of my channel. I will continue posting content, but I have reached both goals that I have set for myself. First goal is I wanted to build an ice shop build on a budget and doing T1 maps, and I did this. T1 to 5 maps, and I did this. I farmed my butt off, and even though I wasn't able to spend an excessive amount of time, I was able to make the most of my time, and that's how I managed to push so far ahead and get what I needed to get done. My second goal was to save for a headhunter in a league where headhunters were exuberantly expensive. Now, obviously, I did well more than just a couple farming methods, and I still have a lot of stuff to continue to do it with, and I still have a lot of things to sell, such as enchantments. Some of them better than the others, obviously, and then I also have armors to sell. I have prophecies to sell. I have rolled watchstones that I'm not using yet. I have rolled watchstones that I have used. I have a whole 16 maps that I need to run with Nemesis 4 currency and Harbinger. I have Harbinger scarabs everywhere. I've been saving up and saving up and saving up, and I finally pushed towards this, and I have so much more stuff that I need to do. So there's basically going to be a lot going on for me in League, and instead of giving you an update on where I'm at in my build, and maybe if I do change it up, I will instead give you farming updates and telling you how I'm going to go about making all my currency from here on, and what my next goal is, whether it be to maybe save up for a pair of Hate Forge or maybe just kill the Trial Master myself. We'll find out. For now, I will say thank you again. I appreciate everyone joining me on this adventure. This was a blast. I had so much fun doing it, and I do appreciate everyone who has supported me and everyone who continues to support me. And if you have any questions or want to see any content specifically, whether it be farming in a certain area, doing a certain thing, please ask. I will gladly roll watchstones and buy a bunch of maps and go farm it for you and show you the results on my channel. That way you don't have to do it. Without further ado, this has been Chaos-Reighn, and as always, everybody, take it easy, stay cool, man.